I'm lucky to be the last between you and the door, so this will only take a couple, 3 hours, so no more breaks. Kidding. So you've heard a lot of good stuff today. So this is going backwards to basically the basics of just best practices. We're all experts, I agree. Some of you have been paving for a long time. I've seen a lot of familiar faces, so I will make this short and sweet and painless as possible. I do have a quote here. It says, "The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it's taken place." So it's something to think about there, in that communication is a big key in what we do. So when we start out, we always start out with safety. We're thinking about best practices, and some of the examples here is our traffic setup with our signs, barrels, cones, flaggers, trucks, the traffic flow, does the public understand it, and parking for the job site. I know some of these things seem very elementary, but we've had several incidents within my own company of own vehicles getting backed into by where we parked. I know that sounds really corny, but these are things to think about throughout the day. One of the key points here, we're all around these a lot. Paving, obviously, they're required, but a shuttle buggy has more blind spots than any other piece of equipment used in asphalt paving. That's a fact. Lots of blind spots. So, you know, the dump person must be aware and communicate at all times, which I think sometimes the dump person is a key, just like flaggers that we have in our jobs. You know, we shouldn't take these people for granted. Sometimes we want to put the least experienced person at these positions, but they're very vital in what we do. So something else to think about in our best practices is prep for paving, is traffic control. We heard Brian earlier, you know, and Scott talk about milling and cleaning, the day and night joint prep, tack, haul trucks. I mean, all these things that we've talked about earlier in the technical form all apply to best practices and troubleshooting on the job. So some of the lay down best practices, again, communication is the key, but you got the plant operator involved, the dump person, the buggy person, the paver operator, the street operator, the laborers, roller operators, the QC/QA tech, and the paving superintendent on the job. That doesn't count any outside forces. So you think about all those people and trying to get them on the same page, let alone dealing with the traveling public. Dump trucks. We all love truck drivers, right? So how many trucks do we have? You know, where are they going? What is the route? Is there overhead lines or obstructions? Are they marked? This all affects our paving train every day. Do the loads need to be tarped? And again, is there a dump person? The dump person should know how many trucks you're starting with, etc. You know, what's the path? If the truck drivers have any questions, obviously the first person they're going to speak to is the dump person who would be getting the ticket. On our pavers, just something, you know, we all know this stuff, but it does apply to the end product, is, you know, the paver speed, material in the hopper, are the extensions evenly spaced, auger height obviously can cause segregation, etc., which all leads to many problems. Our rollers, different types of rollers, you know, pick the right roller for the right application, double drum, 3-wheeled, vibratory, you know, what's the combination of the rollers? These are all things with this certification or education, whatever we want to call it, that should help us understand what we need to give the best product. And there's more than one way to skin a cat, and there's multiple companies in here, and I think we all do a great job. These are, again, just small things to think about. And then the vibratory rollers, you know, again, we talked about speed and impact and spacing and all these things. Brian heard others talk about it, but the other, you know, when you check your amplitude and your frequency. I mean, we're trying to achieve density. You know, one roller may come from one spot to the other, one may break down. The pattern, depending on your roller pattern, you know, we want to make sure we're on high amplitude, low frequency, whatever, vice versa, but they should all be set the same. That way you get the same compaction across the mat. Roller speed here, they need to know the numbers of passes for the breakdown roller, frequency zone, tender zone, that's temperature related. We talked about that earlier, which obviously thickness affects that majorly. And then the roller width and the paving width. You know, a lot of days we do have the capability to lay wider than 12 feet. Like, I was going to make fun of Brian, but he's gone. He made me feel good earlier when he said 1986. I thought I was getting old. I thought about 1986. I was in 7th grade, so it made me feel better about myself anyway. And then here's some math. Kirsten done enough math, but there is some patterns here, math equations to help figure out types of rollers, coverage, speed, passes, gives you a percentage of feet per minute based on the paver speed, etc. And then, again, not talking down or elementary, just we got super technical, and now we're getting elementary. But, you know, when we run the roller, we should turn towards the shoulder, away from traffic, stop at an angle. I know some of you are laughing, but I've been several places, and I've watched people stop straight, literally. Won't mention any names, but it's a pet peeve of mine. Make sure the vibrator is turned off before stopping. I mean, that's an obvious to us in this room, but this is for us to take to our people and educate, especially the newer people that we get every day. We need to know the breakdown when the asphalt is at the hottest, and then cover the entire mat with one pass before starting the second, that's based on how many rollers we're actually using. And then the rollers here continue to take previous stop marks out with the next pass. We know that as the pavers move forward, roll up to the paver with each pass to seal in the heat. It's very important. If we're in a parking lot or private work, you know, roll hand work as soon as possible. That obviously we get some segregation when we loot and the rocks come to the top. Stay on the hot mat. Know when to pinch a joint. It's very important. And cross roll transfers joints when possible. Distributors. This is a big one for me. Brian talked about it earlier. Proper application attack. Two things. We are going to spray pavers on some jobs. Not advocating or against it, but some of those issues, I don't want to speak for the department, but I've been in some meetings, is the bonding issue. You know, if we don't get a good tack coat, we don't use the right material, we don't shoot it at the right application. We've all seen the shuttle buggies pick it up. That's how I always find a job now, is I just follow the truck tires, and I know where the county road we're paving, because you can see tack from there to the plant. But cleaning the surface too is a big deal. And then I put on here the correct nozzles. I mean, that sounds odd, but when we chip and seal or things of that, we use different size nozzles. We need to make sure they're clean and we're getting a good coverage over the entire width of the mat we're going to pave on, or the milling surface. So I was very good and quick there, but I do mean we are all experts, and those are just a few small examples. One key thing here that I do want everyone to understand is it's been a long day. You go through this. Hopefully you picked up on some things. but it is called field supervised training. I grew up in the field. Sometimes I miss the field, literally. But it's important, we preach that INDOT or any entity that we're working with, that problems need to get worked out in the field. That's what this is about. So know your spec book, learn from this. You guys are the experts, and try to work it out in the field. It'll only benefit us and the department where we're doing the proper application. They're getting what they want, we're getting paid for that's what we want, and at the end we both get a quality job. But I know it's been a long day for you guys. I appreciate it, and thank you.